Hello and welcome to Plus Sports on PlusTvAfrica. My name is Mikhail Tinubu. I am your host this morning, and it's been a tear-soaked few days in the Qatar World Cup of 2022. And of course, there's still more to come. A lot of heartbreak in the next couple of days, as the four teams remaining decide who gets to play in the finals and who gets to take the famous trophy home. Meanwhile, in Qatar, Gianni Infantino, president of FIFA, officiated a friendly match between former international players and Qatar-based workers at Thumama Stadium in Doha on Monday, December 12th. Infantino walked out onto the pitch ahead of the two teams and posed for pictures in his bright orange referee outfit. Shortly after kickoff, Infantino handed former Italian football player Alessandro Del Piero a yellow card. Players from across the world, some legends of the sport, participated in the match, which was held to pay tribute to the thousands of workers who have been behind the scenes of football's biggest stage. Workers, volunteers, and fans were invited to watch the 60-minute match from the stands.
Today's event is amazing. It's a great initiative, I think, for us as ex-players, legends, to be here with the fans and also the workers in the crowd and also on the pitch. It's nice for us because we get to enjoy this amazing initiative and also to be a part of it and share a changing room with them, which is very special.
I have Benga Gwega with me on the line. Benga, good morning.
Good morning, Mikhail. It's nice to be here. Like you said in the intro, it's filled with tears. Both on and off the pitch. You could also cast your mind to, at least it's been two journalists now who died mysteriously and unfortunately in Qatar. So the tears are all around, but to be much more sensitive, I hope that the remaining games, we have 3 games to go to the end of Qatar 2022, would give us more things to cheer and more things to smile about.
You know what's interesting about this World Cup? A lot of the issues that protesters and critics have raised have been prevalent at a lot of World Cups in the past. You know, gay rights is only something that has started to be more acceptable in some Western countries. And in 2010, the World Cup in South Africa would have been played in an environment where gay rights aren't quite as widespread in Europe right now. And it begs the question, are we just more sensitive to the times? And are we going to look back? Are we going to continually look back and think of more and more critical ways to look at the World Cups that have come before?
I just guess there's something called trigger, right? So the fact that the World Cup is held for the first time in an Arab country, for the first time in Qatar, for the first time at the tail end of the year ever, these are triggers to bring in a lot of talking points. And for Qatar, unfortunately, they were already riddled into human rights and, like you mentioned, gay rights and the rest of it. So it was the perfect mold for the perfect explosion for all we see in Qatar today. Fortunately, the tournament has been better than the news we've heard.
Sounds like,
unfortunately,
yes. Sounds like
the off-field shenanigans continue.
Yes, sounds like Qatar have experienced the unfortunate thing that tends to happen to certain people at certain times. They have been labeled the scapegoat for everything that is wrong with the World Cup and how it's assigned to nations. But I don't believe, even if we were more aware of things, the issues surrounding preparing for a World Cup, the finances, the potential corruption charges, and obviously in Qatar, corruption isn't something, in the Middle East in general, corruption isn't something you would hear about as being prevalent surrounding these sorts of events. I remember in, was it 2016 when the 2014 when the Brazil World Cup was taking place. A lot of accusations against the Brazilian government about corruption. But right now, one of the biggest issues of this World Cup has been workers dying behind the scenes. And the tally of how many have died hasn't fully come in yet. The full tally hasn't come in yet, and we might still be reading more after the competition. That is if we don't simply enjoy it and then move on, and everything else gets swept under the rug.
Yeah, I think like for Qatar, the news coming out makes it feel like it's because of football that these things are happening, which is the narrative the Qatari government are trying to correct. Of course, we know, obviously, Qatar is not a footballing nation, but in recent years, they've been taking over footballing enterprises and investments to try to fit into the footballing world. But the reasons why these people die is not because of football. It's because of government policies. It's because of employment policies, human rights policies. These are the things that should be pronounced in the articles being produced. But when people make it look like it's because of the World Cup or because of the football going on in Qatar, that's why these things are happening.
But you know, some people would argue that FIFA has gone into overdrive, acting as the Qatari government's PR department, taking a lot of efforts, including this Legends match, just to sort of sports wash a lot of the concerns and to honor, in their own words, the workers. I don't remember a time that they did that in any of the previous World Cups.
Because different strokes for different folks, right? The current venue requires such PR. Like I said, before the World Cup was taken to Qatar, they were already redo the human rights issues. It's just like bringing the World Cup to Nigeria, and you think that the insurgency issues, the insecurity issues will not come to the fore. They will definitely come to the fore, and people will question FIFA's decision for bringing such global tournament to a country that is riddled with insecurity. Those things will definitely come up. So it is not the football that is causing it. However, like we said in the previous episode, it's the football that is bringing out these issues to the fore.
So in a way, even if these issues aren't caused by football, the fact that football is there, whether or not you agree that it might exacerbate the situation, its advantage is that it points and shines a light onto it. All right.
Exactly.
I want to talk about African players in Europe, African players being prevalently making up a lot of these top European countries. If you look at the French national team, so many black people from all parts of Africa, to a large degree, North Africans make up a significant portion of their national team, Ghanaians, Senegalese, specifically, all those former French colonies. And similar applies to England. And yet, when things go wrong, these are the heroes that uplift the hope of the nation. But when things do go wrong, as they did for England, players like Bukayo Saka are the scapegoats, regardless of the fact that other players, white players, might concede errors in the game that leads to the team failing to win at critical moments.
Yeah, I agree with you. I stumbled on tweets recently where people were directly talking to prominent platforms and news platforms that they should maintain the same energy as they did with Bukayo Saka with Harry Kane, because unfortunately for the Three Lions, it was Harry Kane's missed penalty that took England out of the World Cup. So if Bukayo Saka could be labelled with all sorts of things in 2020, why not Harry Kane? But so far so good, we haven't seen anything in that light. So yeah, I agree with you that there's some sort of discrepancies, there's some sort of segregation in blaming players when things don't go right. But all in all, it doesn't just happen to foreign teams. It happens everywhere.